I'm Denise Jekyll. I'm one of the founding members of IndySSaS, Indy Stage, Studio, and Screen. It's primarily to help actors in this market come together, get on the same page about what it means to be a professional in here. And even if you're not a professional, to behave like a professional in the Indiana market, in central Indiana. And, you know, hopefully be a networking opportunity. You can meet producers, writers, learn how to put yourself on camera, learn what fair rates are to charge for a television commercial, for a voiceover, that sort of thing. So that's why we're here. We're here to support each other. We started identifying problems several years ago in this market, and in order to change them, we realized we needed everybody's involvement. So we reached out and created IndySSaS. We are going to try to do this as seamlessly as possible. Jim Dougherty, who most of you know, is not only an actor and a stunt coordinator, but he also does amazing stuff behind the camera. So he's going to help us be better at self-taping for auditions, so we'll do that job.
Cool. As Denise said, my name is Jim Dougherty. I am a union actor, and I do work all over the place. And one of the things that allows me to do that is being able to put myself on tape for opportunities that are happening outside of the geographic region. I'm going to kind of go through some of what is happening in not just the local market, but in the national market, and standards that are acceptable by casting directors for submitting yourself on tape. Some people will go through an agent. An agent, most of the agencies that we're familiar with in our local region have rooms set up so that you can go there and tape. The agency sort of works like a casting director, and then there are also some casting directors that you're going to see this kind of setup. It may not be this kind of camera, maybe a small Walmart cheap $200 camera. What we're going to talk about is how you get the look that they're expecting, the standard that they're expecting, the sound that they're expecting, the things to do, the things not to do. And then we're going to go over some of the technical aspects of how to get from the camera to a compressed video that you can either upload. For those of you, I know if you're represented by Heyman Talent, Heyman allows you to upload audio and video files for your auditions right to their website when you log in. However, there's a limit on the file size. So how do you get the file size to be acceptable and still have good quality and not, you know, call them and say, hey, I can't get my file uploaded, and they'll have to walk you through it, which they actually said they won't walk you through, so you've got to know it. We're also going to talk a little bit about if you're on the road. You know, if you're a working actor and you are on a shoot somewhere and you get an audition opportunity and you didn't bring your camera, what do you have? Right? How do you utilize what you have? A lot of people use these, right? A lot of people use iPad or the Samsung or a laptop or what have you. Now, there are issues you'll run into with those particular items, but you can work around them a little bit, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about casting directors. Casting directors have an expectation of professionalism. Over the course of the last few years, they have gone, as the internet has become more and more useful tool for people, casting directors used to call actors in. And they would be casting a role for a TV show or movie. And how many of you have aspirations to work in one of those mediums? Otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? Okay. So they would see 30 to 50 people in person for a given role. Those are all people that are within driving distance of the casting director's office. Those are the people that had the opportunity, right? It was geographically based. Today, just a couple years ago, that number went from 50 to 300 per role, right? The last statistic I looked at, now, they see 1,200 people on tape for one role in a TV show or a film. How many of you have representation? Okay. How many of you have to go to your agent's office to put yourself on tape? How many of you do it from home? Okay. How many of you do it from home and are booking regularly? So. Yeah. Okay. So there is something that's to be said for your video quality. If you're a casting director, put yourself in their shoes. And you have to see 1,200 and you're casting 15 roles. And you got 3 days to do it, a week to do it. How much video is that you've got to watch? Right? And are you going to watch every single thing that comes into you from beginning to end? Or are you going to be selective based upon the quality of the technical aspects of the video first? That's what they tell you. If the video quality and the audio are no good, it doesn't matter how good of an actor you are, it goes in the trash. Because they don't have time to try and struggle to watch you when they've got to watch 1,199 more people. Right? So don't be that one. Don't be the one that gets the camera from Walmart and sets it on a table and takes yourself against a window and moves all around and then does everything really big like this because I must show you that I am acting. Because believe me, I've cast films and I've gotten tapes like that. And it happens. And it's not what they're looking for. For a film actor, what's the most important feature?
Eyes.
Why? Why the eyes?
Windows and soul.
Okay? They want to see the subtlety of thought. Can't show subtlety of thought if A, you're not lit. B, camera's too far away. Okay? So, do you frame your shot up so you're here in the frame?
No.
No. Okay. So first thing let's think about, framing. Get in the idea that you frame yourself from armpits to top of the head. That's your frame. You have sides you've been given where you have your character and the other character. What's the most important thing about those sides?
Memorize it.
Is that the most important?
It's not in front of your face. You don't have it in front of your face.
Okay, we all have aspects of it, absolutely. The most important thing is you find within that the honesty and behavior of the character. And a lot of casting directors are okay if you have to read it or have a reference. They don't want to see an actor who is on camera sending in an audition where they look like they're trying to remember what they're supposed to say. So if you know it cold, yes, memorizing is one thing. Worst thing in the world is for an actor who's got their lines memorized but has no character. No relationship communication. No sense of who they're talking to or the space that they're in. What's the environment? So you have to think about all those things. An audition should be a performance, in a sense. Because they're hiring you to play a role, not based upon whether or not you can remember the words to say, but based upon the fact that you affect them in some way. So, being able to communicate emotionally with your scene partner that's off camera, even if they're really like this and they're like boring and so forth, which happens, you still got to be able to generate that. You got to be able to own that. Okay, so memorizing is yes. Okay? Not looking at this, yes, you don't want to read it, you don't want to have blocking, but if you have to reference it, that's fine. Character is important, behavior is important, relationship communication is important. How many of you have space in your house that you can dedicate to an audition area? Good. If you can do that, that is the best thing to do. Because then you never have to set up and tear down. You keep it and you can actually make the space great. You've got a wall. Solid. or you can get a drop. So your backdrop is important because you want to be able to make yourself pop out. What's the most important thing about the visual of your audition is seeing your eyes, seeing your face, right? Not seeing a bookshelf or anything that can take their eyes off of you as an actor. If you have anything in your background that is not pushing you to the front, you're killing yourself. A, it demonstrates a lack of professionalism. And if they're seeing 1,200, the 10 that they're going to pick to send to the casting department are probably going to be the ones that A, are a really good actor, and B, have very good technical elements. So giving yourself a disadvantage by ignoring that, even though you're a good actor, is probably not the wisest thing you could do. You want to give yourself the advantage of being technically on par with the actors that are booking. The studios where people are going and dropping 25 bucks to put themselves on tape. Because in a lot of the bigger markets, that's what they do. So now let's talk about sound, because that's the other element that's huge. If you have, no one has to have a camera like this. If you have one like this, it gets a great image, but you don't want to spend $3,500. You want to spend, $100, $200, right? You're this far from the camera, right? And because you're this far from the camera, this is what I see actors do. I've got to reach the camera with my voice. There you go. You need to reach the microphone with your voice. That's all the further it's got to go. Now what's going to happen is, you're going to have a reader standing right here. Your microphone's built into your camera. It's omnidirectional, which means it captures sound at 360 degrees. So if you're here, and you're this far away from the microphone, and your reader is here, and they're this far away from the microphone, who's the casting director going to hear? The reader. Is that what you want? No. So what you do is, you either have your reader stand way back, so your microphone adapts to the space of the room, or you drop a few dollars, and you can look online. I'm not going to tell you what mics to buy because there are so many out there on the market, but you get one that'll plug into your camera. And you get a little stand, and you get a cable, and you set it up so that your microphone is at a reasonable distance from your own mouth. You get a little tripod, you get something, you rig it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to buy expensive equipment to do this. I have it because I make films, so I've got the gear. But if I didn't have the gear, I'd be doing it other ways, right? So you get the camera, you get the set, you get the mic set. You get the mic set in such a fashion that it's right outside of frame. And if you've got a good camera and you've got it on a tripod, when you're shopping for a camera, if you don't have one, try and find one that will turn, where your display will turn, so that you can actually look at it. Okay, right now I'm where I should be. Put a piece of tape on the floor, leave that as your mark all the time. Okay? Now, my microphone is right here, not casting shadow from my lights, and it's out of frame. But it's right here. Which means I can play the scene no matter where my scene partner is, as if they're standing right here and I'm talking to them. Because on film, you watch TV shows, you watch movies, you watch intimate conversations between two actors. They're generally, they have energy, they're not projected. Two people driving down a car have a conversation, they turn and say, so what are you doing? Not, so what are you doing? Because you don't want them to see you acting. Exactly. You want to be acting. But you don't want to see you acting. You want to be natural. You want to be... So your equipment has got to be able to pick that up. Because what they're casting is what they want for the character. Right? They're not casting an actor who can show they can act. They're casting someone that can be. 95% of actors go too big. because they have to be acting. Look at yourselves. Do you do that? If you turn around and watch yourself, can you look at yourself and go, that's how I behave normally? Or do you look at yourself and go, I'm performing? And there's a difference. And you should be able to turn around and look at it and see that. Okay. So, is everybody pretty clear on microphone? Get a good microphone, or get a microphone that at least gets you away from the camera vocally. Armpits, top of your head, plain background, or something that has no distractions in it. Do you have space? A, give space to set up something like this. Now, if I were setting this up for a real permanent location, I'd add a third light. And it would be up here, shooting down. Backlight, to separate me from the background. In my home studio, that's how it's set up. So that I'm taking light off of the background, I'm backlighting me to separate the background, and I've got two at about 45-degree angles, usually a little higher, coming in like this so that I have an even wash. If you're doing something heavily dramatic, you want to turn all that off. And you want to work this direction and have fall off on your face. You get 3 of them. You just spent $12. These bulbs in here, you can get from any hardware store. And they're the energy savers. So this is 100 watts of light that only uses 23 watts of power. So you get 3 of these. Now you've got your 2 lights and your backlight, and you've probably spent $25, if that, right? You may need a few extension cords. Now how many of you do laundry?
I never, if I don't
Right. Does everybody know what this is? This is a po man setup for lighting yourself with soft light. Okay? You've just put a diffuser on your light. So you've taken some of the harshness out of it. These are called C47s. Or clothespins. And you just pin it to your light. And you've just given yourself a diffuser.
Does it matter if the thing is used or not, if the dryer sheet is used or not?
No, because it's the texture of it, and it's how it bends the light when the light goes through it. So if it's used, it doesn't matter. If it's not used, and you turn the light on, there's a little heat there, it smells really good. So there's a bonus there. And the cool thing about these is you can clip these into your car. And if you're going to be on the road for a while, you've got a couple of lights with you if you need to set up in a hotel room. Bam! That's, how easy is that? Right? You get the little coat hangers in your car. I just clip these up on there. They ride with me on the trip. Not always, but a lot of times. And then in your house, what can you clip that to?
A bookcase.
Bookcase, curtain rod, door frame, chair, stairway railing.
Ladder.
Who's got a basement? Open joists? You have a little area with open joists? You put this anywhere you want. You can totally control your lighting. 5300 and up are what you want for if you're going to use a window to daylight balance. Now, lighting goes back to your camera again. Because most cameras have an auto white balance setting built into them. So you want to make sure that you do white balance your camera so that your image is not funky looking. Okay? Most of the webcams, like on Denise's laptop, it's going to auto white balance based upon the lighting conditions that you're in. But a lot of cameras, you have a little button on it, like this one does, where you actually push the button and hold it in with a piece of white something in front of the lens. And I just keep a piece of paper taped to my wall. And then I'll set up this tripod and hang a piece of paper on it and white balance the camera with that piece of paper. So that you don't want your skin tone to look goofy. So white balancing your camera is very important, along with framing, good sound, And then it's a matter of doing your thing.